Oh man, guys, us Tolkien fans, we're eating good, huh? We got a brand new video game out there, Okay, we got to put this in the rearview mirror, right? Like, when it comes to, good Middle-earth adaptations, good Middle-earth video games, like, it's been a minute since Monolith, rest in peace, had the opportunity to do the Shadow of War and Shadow of Mordor games, which some of the story beats were quite a bit wonky, like turning a Isildur into one of the ring wraiths is just such peak storytelling that doesn't make me want to gouge my eyes out. No, for sure, it totally makes sense because Tolkien never specifically said who all the nine were specifically, so why couldn't it have been a Isildur? I mean, that's kind of the justification for one of the other big budget adaptations that's out there. Oh, he didn't say anything about it, so that means it couldn't have happened, but I digress. There's at least redeeming factors when it comes to those games right there. But in recent years, boy, Slim Pickens doesn't even begin to start to describe what it's been like in regards to adaptations of, honestly, something that should be a slam dunk. Okay, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of pages of material ripe for adaptation. You want to do something a little bit more low fantasy? You could do the Fourth Age. Everybody wants to know about, what happened? Oh, how did, in the words of J.R.R. Martin, okay, so what happened with what was the tax policy of Aragorn? Okay, cool. You could go during the 111-year reign of King Elisar, and you can explore rebuilding Minas Tirith, how Gimli helped with, crafting and fixing the gates of Minas Tirith, and then establishing his new domain in the glittering caves behind the Hornburg. Like, you could do all of this stuff. That could be a lot of fun if you want to do that stuff. Or you can go totally high fantasy and take out some of those more spectacular stories. You could have a game, you could have a TV show, you could have a movie about the fall of Gondolin with Morgoth and an army of Balrogs besieging the hidden city. That would be tremendous stuff. But no. You get little wonky stories about black hobbits cooking in the form of, Tales of the Shire, this just abomination of a video game, if we're going to keep it a buck, okay? Because, I've been following this one for a minute. I've done videos all the way back, at the tail end of last year when this was when this was first supposed to release, but then they ended up pushing it back because Backlash and, I don't know, the six rainbow-haired freaks that are working on this just couldn't figure out this basic bitch level of gameplay that you're presenting, where it's like, okay, cool. Again, if you wanted to do a low fantasy Middle-earth story, like fleshing out the world of the Shire, like that's a slam dunk. That is easy stuff. But no. You needed to have all of your modern day-isms. And honestly, this is why shit coming out today is always gonna fail to live up to the source material or anything that has come out prior. But Tales of the Shire review, it's so interesting, right? Because as a longtime Tolkien fan, all right, Emma Jane Betts, I doubt it, I'm both pleasantly surprised and slightly frustrated at what should have been my dream Lord of the Rings game. What, exploring the Shire? Yeah, for a lot of people, I guess that would have been their dream Lord of the Rings game, which, I mean, that's why I don't think you're being terribly honest by saying that you're and again, what exactly is a longtime Tolkien fan? Like, if you're in your early 20s in a post-Peter Jackson landscape, like, okay, I guess, but, how can you be a fan of the work itself and accept everything that's going on, okay? But Tales of the Shire does Tolkien lore justice. No, it doesn't. There's black hobbits. That doesn't make any sense. If you wanted to have more Mediterranean complexion in your halflings, somebody could have done a store game, okay? But if you're going to be looking at the Shire itself, once again, like, this is a fantasy setting where you have a much more homogenous society, so given the fact that it looks as diverse as a casting call in Los Angeles, I mean, how can you say that it does his lore justice? And has a new approach to unlocking features in cozy games that'll make your heart sing. But it's so funny, right? Yeah, it unlocks features that makes the game feel cozy, but it struggles to create a gameplay loop that cozy gamers are after. So it's a cozy game that cozy gamers don't like. But just seeing that, I guess that's the byline, that's the talking points for this game, okay? Inside the struggle to create a cozy Lord of the Rings game. Yeah, and again, it's lore accurate because Gandalf always had a ribbon tied around his staff without, the more wild aspects and the crystal on top of his staff. Oh, no, for sure. And then also, Glamdring also had the golden crossguard and pommel, and the blade was, looking to be about as long as Narsil. For sure, no, definitely, very, very accurate stuff. Or unless this is one of the blue wizards, because I have no idea. But once again, very lore accurate, but very, very cozy. Okay, it's very cozy stuff. But even going back to the Games Radar review, like 3 out of 5 stars, which is, it really does seem quite high. In The Verge, showing off screenshots of a game that started development in 2022. Doesn't exactly look like the most intensive game in the world. But about 18 months into the project, Tales of the Shire had to contend with a shift in leadership, one that employees said tanked morale. Interesting, after the studio director, Amy Wolkin, hilarious, quit Weta. Okay, yeah, because this is Weta Digital, a branch of, yes, the legendary Weta Workshop that did a lot of the practical and makeup work, rather, for The Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit trilogy, and Weta Digital, who also worked on the CGI and all that pioneering technology. Yeah, they started up a little video game offshoot as well, and this was what they thought would be a great first step. Interesting. But yes, Wolkin quit a Tolkien game to become the CEO at Dinosaur Polo Club, a New Zealand indie studio. Interesting. Yeah, Weta needed a replacement. It took 6 months to find Tony Lawrence, who arrived at Weta in April of 2024. Because once again, you needed such wide-reaching corporate structure in order to craft a Hobbit cooking game. Okay. But given this game has been in development and in the somewhat public consciousness for years at this point in time, you would think it would have a little bit better reputation, at least on Steam, because, yeah, it comes out today, okay? It'll be funny to see what the Steam numbers look like as players, or in this case, player goes online to check this out. But it got as high as 59 on wish lists, 31,000 followers. Not great. Not really great in the grand scheme of things, but hey, game got a 6 out of 10 on Games Radar, but I guess IGN, feeling a little bit more based on things, was a little bit more critical of their assessment. But yes, Tales of the Shire, a Lord of the Rings, a game review, a promising idea that turned out dreadfully boring and extremely buggy. Oh, interesting. Some of the highlights, Tales lacks those hidden layers of depth to get completely lost in, which, yeah, it's not like Tolkien's known to go to excruciating detail in order to lay out his incredibly well-realized world. They didn't have access to that stuff, right? You're subjected to a lot of tedious repetition with very little payoff. Oh boy, where have we heard this before? Okay, but even looking at the review score itself, the verdict, yeah, 4. Ooh, a 4 from IGN. Well, where have we seen this before? Okay, I'm just wondering because, oh shit, because the Lord of the Rings game, I don't know why they spelt it like that, because, okay, if you heard anything from Daedalus themselves, okay, that is clearly Lord of Ring Gollum, okay, and it also got a 4, so, what did we hear from Tales of the Shire? It's also a buggy and boring, huh? Lord of Ring Gollum is filled with, bugs and pointless story and does very little to justify its existence. Oh, interesting. Do we have another Gollum on our hands? Boy, I sure hope so. But unlike Lord of Ring Gollum, Tales of the Shire, its boring blandness, at least when it's not breaking, we know that it has a mark of quality because, its writing and its sensitivity reading has been lorded over by our good friends over at Sweet Baby Inc., which is so funny that people are still using them to consult and work on their video games in 2025, but also how their streak of being associated with games that flop appears to be unmolested. Because honestly, man, this game has everything going wrong with it, because, yeah, you take a look at its optimization, and yeah, it recommends a 3060 Ti, bro. Cyberpunk, yeah, DLC, Phantom Liberty, okay, recommended a 2060 Super. 3060 Ti for that garbage? A Core i5, okay, a Core i5 10600, AMD Ryzen 5 8400F. And it's only a 3 GB sized game? What the hell are we doing? Dude, and all you're doing, okay, just from this little, little GIF that's playing here is you're customizing your Hobbit hole and you're what? Cooking? That's it. That's what you're doing. 3 years of development, and this is all that you could do. Once again, guys, just another installment in the Tolkien fans just eating good, and to just really drive this all home, man. Rings of Power, remember that came out last year. Hell, we're coming up on the 1-year anniversary of Season 2, if anybody remembers. And yeah, now we're starting to get some rumors for Season 3, because we know that there's going to be a massive time jump. We're definitely not condensing the story, and we're probably not going to be wrapping up at the end of Season 3, because, the viewership is absolutely dire for this show. And Amazon, even with their bottomless pockets, are going, yeah, this is just kind of a vanity project at this point in time. So yeah, if we could just go ahead and, just hurry over the whole Fall of Numenor thing where, hey, we already established Farazan Sauron as just being a little bit corrupt. So yeah, if he ends up being a little bit more corrupt in some of his decisions because he already wants to be immortal, so, we don't really need, Sauron to be imprisoned and slowly manipulate Farazan's mind, where he eventually tries to go to war with Valinor. So yeah, if he already wants to be immortal, he can already send a fleet of ships over to, the Undying Lands, and like we could just have all of those guys just, zapped in an instant. Numenor can fall in the first couple of episodes. That's totally fine. And yeah, we'll have the One Ring already crafted, and the in-between seasons are like Sauron's already distributed the 9 rings of men that fell out of Galadriel's jacket in that atrocious final episode. Oh, it'll just be so great, where yeah, oh my god guys, you're gonna like season 3 because there's gonna be more battles, it's gonna be more canonically accurate, and yeah, we're gonna have ring wraiths. It's like, yeah, cool. The only people looking forward to this are the people looking forward to how stupid you're ultimately gonna make things, which yeah, there's a lot of room for you to be even more disrespectful and be even bigger plagiarists. Because yeah, season 3, what's supposed to start filming this spring? Oh my god, so season 3 very likely isn't going to be coming out until like summer of 2027. Holy shit. What are we doing? But yeah, with Sauron crowned, Balrog Tundra, tunneling beneath Khazad-dûm. Yeah, I don't have to worry about the Balrog though, because what's more pressing than the Balrog of Morgoth is, yeah, there's a political vacuum on top, because Durin the Fourth is now going to be the king, should be the king, potentially could be the king, but his brother, we need to establish that, because we need to legitimately have one other dwarven kingdom and somebody to hand a ring of power out to, because you got 7 of them bastards, but you don't know who's going to be getting those, so that's going to be interesting. So yeah, the Balrog, he'll just be chilling out in the basement for a while. It's totally fine. Don't need to worry about him until, like, it's episode 6 or 7 when Disa dropped something else and it just goes back to his cave, and then they go, oh my god, there's something living in the basement. It's like, yeah, we've known for like 2 seasons already. And the strangers, yes, true identity, yes, because oh yeah, there's a great big grand elf. And then, of course, there's a dark wizard who's definitely not Saruman. Oh, Christ almighty. Like, this show is so stupid. Yeah, season 2 finale aired in 2024. Yeah, first week of October of 2024. Okay, Prime Video did not initially confirm a season 3 renewal. Yeah, that took until, God, when did I do that video? Like March or something like that? Like, it took a long time. February 13th, 2025, the streamer confirmed, yeah, season 3 was in pre-production, would begin filming in the spring. Not this spring, but a spring, I guess. Cool. But hey, on June 12th, it was announced that 3 new cast members would be added to Season 3. According to the Wrap, Andrew Richardson, Zubin Varla, and Adam Young are joining in roles yet to be disclosed. And well, we can take a look at this stuff because we got the pictures of such, okay? Because, well, you got Andrew Richardson, who is probably going to be a Lord of Men, because we have a shockingly few of them. I think Adam Young, based on the facial features right there, he's either going to be another Barrow White, but very, very likely going to be an elf, okay? Which you would have to think, like, there's a couple of fairly important ones, but one specifically, and, if you're going to be telling the tale of Galadriel and how she's eventually supposed to become the Lady of Light, the Lady of Lothlorien, I think there's probably, somebody else who's fairly important, but given how much J.D. Payne, Patrick McKay, and Charlotte Brandstrom love to bastardize the lore, I wouldn't be surprised if this is in Glorfindel, mostly because Rings of Power is a terminally insecure production, so they want to do everything that Peter Jackson didn't do, and he got any amount of shit for not including, like the Barrow Whites, like not having Tom Bombadil. So funny how all of those things end up coming through. Oh yeah, and something else that wasn't included was Glorfindel, and because they want to continue to just simply string along this stupid shipping between Sauron and Galadriel, why would they bring in Celeborn? That would fuck up the entire dynamic, unless of course that they want to do a throwback to the Hobbit trilogy and do a love triangle between Sauron, Galadriel, and her husband, but I kind of think, yeah, bastardizing Glorfindel because, him rescuing Frodo after he was stabbed by the Witch King in Weathertop, as Peter Jackson replaced that with Arwen, I would not be surprised if they decided to do that, because yeah, he plays, if we're sticking a little bit to the lore, like Glorfindel's pretty important in the Second Age, more so than Gandalf, who wasn't even supposed to be there, but I digress. And as for the third guy, it's like, okay, he's very obviously, like, I would imagine he's probably going to be Durin's brother, who's gonna, engage in this political warfare back and forth. But yeah, man, this is what we have to look forward to. even remotely fun about one of the most content-rich and methodically obsessed over mythologies. And that's the way that Tolkien wrote it, so I think that's the best way to refer to it as. But making a Hobbit farming simulator and one of the most disrespectful and disjointed television shows of all time, this is the best that you can do. And this is why modern media is in the state that it's in, just because for every conceivable reason all of this shit sucks. It's not just because it's woke that it's bad because it's bad. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.